We have a reasonable number of patients with personality disorders. As a sort of generalist in the community, I think there is quite often nervousness there about, well, where do I fit with this? What I've learned is that quite often I am the person seeing the patient the most. You know, that they'll maybe have sometimes even a daily prescription, you know. So what happens is your role is almost to be part of their network of safe places and part of their network of people that they know you care about how they're doing. So again, it comes back to that simple sort of thing about, you know, displaying basic human kindness and interest in how they're doing. I may not understand all the complexities of their condition, but I can still be there for them.
About 40% of GP consultations are in some way and probably predominantly related to mental health issues. The vast majority of those mental health issues will be anxiety and depression. And that's what we do, I think, quite well with this fantastic support of our colleagues in mental health teams and CPNs, which is much better than it was. I mean, it just didn't exist before when I started. But I think sometimes there's a view, perhaps amongst the public, the GPs don't like mental health issues. I think actually that's completely wrong. The great thing about most of the stuff we see, the anxiety and depression, is that you can make people better. The vast majority of patients get better with the right kind of treatment, the right kind of support, and the right kind of follow-up. There are no quick fixes, it takes time, it takes a lot of support. But it's actually a remarkably rewarding thing. What we're not so good at is more complex presentations in patients with things like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. Partly that's because I think services have improved. Patients are very well treated by consultant services, mental health teams, crisis teams. The disadvantage of all these other services being available is we get quite de-skilled.
Bipolar and schizophrenia, which are long-term, probably lifelong conditions, I'm a bit more apprehensive in case I put them back.
There was a patient I was looking after maybe 2 or 3 years ago, very, very difficult circumstances, very, very sort of risky behaviours, you know, a lot of 999 calls and, you know, a lot of emergency circumstances around overdoses. And I felt the need to sort of raise the red flag. You know, my GP colleague said, well, you know, I think we've got everything in place we need to, but I can tell you that person really values the chat that they have with you 2 or 3 times a week. And that kind of brought it home to me, because at that point, you know, I wasn't sure whether it was making a difference or not. You're still an important part of that person's care, you know, even if you're not working at that specialist level.
One of the dangers that I find is sometimes we become a bit too passive. It becomes someone else's problem. You know, this patient's too complicated for me to deal with. They're attending the psychiatrist. It's the psychiatrist's problem. You know, it's not really my job to sort this out. And I think that's a shame, because ultimately it's all of our jobs to try and sort things out. Even if all you're doing is acting as an early warning system that maybe something's going wrong and someone's deteriorating, and maybe we should get them in and have a chat and find out. And that's invaluable.